Before a faith conversation of any description can begin, something else has to precede it, and that is listening, right? We have to learn the art of listening. That's the cornerstone of meaningful communication of any sort, and particularly in sharing your faith. Why should someone listen to you if you're not prepared to first listen to them and not just waiting for the chance to speak, but because of a genuine interest in what they have to say and where they're coming from? And any kind of listening creates a space of trust and respect and mutual understanding. We're not simply waiting for them to run out of breath so we can dive in and dominate everything. Taking time to hear another person's experiences and perspectives communicates that they have value, that they're an inherent value, and that sometimes, often opens the door to more meaningful conversations about faith. When we truly listen, we're saying one thing: your story matters to me. And also, listening reflects a basic humility. By choosing to listen, we acknowledge that we don't have all the answers. And we're embracing that other person's journey and recognizing that their journey is as valuable as ours, that it's unique, and their story must be allowed to shape the dialogue that proceeds, that is consequent upon that listening. Think of the way that Jesus engaged with the woman at the well, speaking about water, speaking about the well, speaking about the time of the day, and then leading into something deeper. Think about with Nicodemus, thinking about where Nicodemus had come from and his own expectations. Jesus listened. We have to learn the same. We have to learn that humility. And so when we listen, we are embodying the spirit of Jesus. We're embodying Christ's love for people. He had compassion on the multitude because he saw them like sheep that didn't have a shepherd. He demonstrated care and compassion by giving people his undivided attention. And when we listen, we're doing the same thing. We're mirroring that divine empathy, and we become instruments of God's grace in the lives of others. We have no right to speak into someone's life unless we know what that life is like. Stephen Covey wrote a book with this principle. It's a very well-known principle. And I'll just say it right here: seek first to understand, and then to be understood. Now, that really encapsulates this idea of listening. Prioritizing listening over speaking shifts the dynamic of faith sharing, and it fosters an openness and a dialogue rather than a one-sided monologue. You're all here to listen to me, so be quiet while I speak. It's a conversation. This is a conversation about the things that matter most to me. I want to know about the things that matter most to you. Listening kind of brings the temperature down if there's any sense of conflict or ego or wrangling, aggression or debate. The whole spirit of debate is not conducive to sharing faith. So when we listen, we're creating opportunities for genuine connection and where both individuals are enriched by the exchange. I'm not just here to tell you something. I'm here to make a friend, to discover something about you. And complementing the practice of listening is the art of asking thoughtful, open-ended questions. That just means leaning into that storytelling, asking more to bring more out. Questions are powerful tools that invite others to explore and articulate their own beliefs, their own doubts, their own hopes. And open-ended questions create a space for reflection and sharing and offer an invitation rather than imposing an agenda, rather than you just have to listen to what I have to say, right? So this is something absolutely basic to sharing our faith. For example, consider questions like this. What gives you hope in life? Have you ever had any kind of spiritual experience? Or what do you think about God and faith? Ah, it's a load of rubbish. Well, what's your story? Why do you say that? Oh, well, because he's never answered my prayers. You know, these kind of questions are non-threatening and they give you space, that they encourage a new kind of exploration and they create room for dialogue without pressuring the other person to provide a specific answer. You have to always acknowledge that you and I, we haven't got it all sorted out, right? We haven't got it all prepared and sorted. We don't know A to Z. We just have a little of something, something that's changed our life, something that is incredibly important. And Jesus said, don't cast your pearls before swine. It sounds so rude and aggressive, doesn't it? But he's saying, don't waste time. What you have is really, really important. So work at how it is presented. Present it through listening first and then questions. And the questions are outward directed. They're not trying to pin someone down. They're trying to explore and create that space between you. And by contrast, questions framed with judgment or an underlying agenda can hinder openness. So effective questions should aim to learn, not persuade, and encourage curiosity and mutual understanding. Be open to the absolute truth that this person has something to teach you. Be open to that all the time, right? But the practice of listening and questioning are rooted in biblical examples. You think of the ministry of Jesus and Paul. And Jesus was a master listener, but he often asked questions that invited people into transformative conversations. What do you want me to do for you? In Mark chapter 10. Who do you say I am? He wasn't merely seeking information. His questions were designed to draw out people's thoughts, reveal their needs, and foster deeper understanding and engagement. And the approach in Acts 70 provides a compelling example. He begins by acknowledging their existing beliefs, referencing their altar to an unknown God. And by doing so, he demonstrates an attentiveness to his audience's worldview, framing his message in a way that resonates with their context. He quotes their poetry. He knows about their philosophy. He acknowledges it. He acknowledges it as a basis of common space between them. And it's a respectful engagement, and it models how listening and questioning can bridge divides and create meaningful dialogue. Ultimately, listening and asking questions are more than conversational techniques. They're spiritual practices that reflect that faith is relational. From beginning to end, from faith to faith, we grow through our questioning, through our thinking, through our listening. And by engaging others with genuine attentiveness and genuine curiosity, we are reflecting what God is like, how God is towards us. We're reflecting God's love, and we're creating an opportunity for mutual growth and understanding. And as we do that, we're participating in the ongoing work of building relationships that nurture faith and community. This is how we grow together. Okay, see you in the next session.